So if you decided to try out the power of SuperQuiz, the first thing that you need to do is to create a Google form. Do that by going to your Google Drive and clicking on New and selecting Google Forms. I've already got one started over here. The biggest thing to know about being able to use the SuperQuiz Google add-on is that you need to make sure that the first 3 questions on your quiz are what is your email, what is your name, and who is your teacher. Now, these questions can be set up in different formats. I have them set up here as text box entries, meaning that the students would type in their responses into the blanks. It's very important that they are in this specific order in order to be able to run it. Now, depending on the age of your student, you could customize these to actually be a pull-down menu so that the student would just have to choose their name in here. So let's say that you have a spreadsheet set up that has all of your students listed out by name and email address. The one thing I'll tell you that if you do run into this is that I would encourage you to add in one more student to your student list, and we're going to call that student the perfect student. You're going to delete this before you actually run the script, but in order to make SuperQuiz work, you need to have a key. And so we need to, if you're going to change it to choose from a list, we need to add in that perfect student option as well. So if I wanted to make this happen, I would click on the edit button and I would just change the question type to choose from a list and paste in all of those email addresses. So now when students come to your assessment, all they would have to do is pull down their email address, so they wouldn't have to have that typed out. You could do the same thing for their name as well. For the who is your teacher, you could customize this in many different ways. I've set this one up as a multiple choice question, being able to collaborate with another teacher to compare our 2 class periods results. Or maybe if I taught multiple periods in the day, I would change this to first, second, third periods that I were to teach. Now, the last thing to keep in mind when you are setting up your form is the questions that you're asking and the order that those questions are in. What SuperQuiz has the power to do is it has a power to be able to look at the questions, the topic that the questions are being asked on. Those could relate back to standards if you're exploring standards-based grading, and be able to tell the student and you as the teacher how they're doing. Are they proficient on that topic, or are they not proficient? Do they need to have more work, or are they just emerging on these ideas? And so you could have multiple questions on a specific topic. You'll see here my first 2 questions are about the size of planets in our solar system. Let's go ahead and add in one more question here about the order of the planets in the solar system. So instead of which planet is farthest away, let's say which planet is closest. And we'll change up our options here as well. And make sure that any question that you have in your form that you want students to make sure that they answer is checked marked here, saying that it is a required question, and click Done. Now that you have your questions inputted in and your first 3 are set up to email address, name, and teacher, what the next step that you need to do is that you need to make sure that you go in and answer the assessment as the perfect student. That's going to create a key that SuperQuiz is going to use to grade all of the rest of the student responses against. Before I leave here, you may think, hey, what is your email address? If I choose this automatically collect respondents, then that's going to put that in that first blank. Well, what I'll tell you is that SuperQuiz does not work with that form setting. So if you want to make it easier, choose the choose from a list option for your students, but do not choose that automatically collect students' responses. We had issues with that working and allowing the form to be able to run. So I'm going to go into my live form. I am going to choose my perfect student. I'm going to label them perfect student. And I'm going to go ahead and answer this quiz. It doesn't matter which section they are in. That doesn't have any bearing on the outcome. And then click Submit. Now you're ready for the next video of how to actually get the SuperQuiz add-on to run. So check it out.